It is finally here, Joe. Our first battle that we've ever had before.
Yeah, there we go. First battle ever. I had a good weekend too. It was a good relaxing weekend. Got to spend some time with my little niece. And this weekend I'm going to be over in Austin. So I got some stuff to do for work.
Very cool, man. Yeah. Very cool. Dude, to be at that game yesterday, I wanted to be at that game in Austin. UTSA against Texas. Chica and I were about to go, but last minute decided not to. Watched it on Hulu last night.
Yeah. Seems like they have a lagoon or something like that over in Austin I never knew about. So I might check that out since I'm over there already.
Are you talking about Barton Creek?
Nah, it's not Barton Creek. It's like some type of legit lagoon or something like that.
So, Joe, are you going to be in Necio today during the battle between me and Quan? Are you going to be lighting fireworks?
No, I'm going to let you all go at it. I mean, that's what it's about, dude. I'll let you all cook, man.
Everyone's saying match energy, man. I've been working today, baby. I got to get into the mode of battle, baby.
Yeah, you're a little overmodulated. Maybe you could turn yourself down a click or two. Let's see. You sound a little too low now.
What about now?
That sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
I'll work with that.
You can work with that?
Yeah.
But lower it a little bit?
No, that's fine.
Cool.
Leja's in the chat. Black Bucket. Got Sam Salinas. Everybody saying hi. Good morning. Good morning, fellas. Rafa's in here. So when do the Brahmas play in the conference title game? No mames, bro. Having one of the worst records in the USFL. They only won one damn game.
Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We go for about an hour and a half talking sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. But today's a special game. A special day over here when it comes to the Area 210 podcast. We're going to have a battle, and this is something that Joe and I have talked about. Ding, ding, sound the ring. We've been talking about this, Joe, that we want to have a battle royale maybe once a month where we bring out somebody from Spurs Twitter or somebody from the Spurs Twitterverse to battle me when it comes to our sports takes. Nothing personal. Just sports takes about whatever, maybe some pop culture takes. And Joe, who is today's first contestant?
Oh, first contestant is the legendary Alfonso del Quan. And now he's known as the Final Quan, and he'll be joining us. And hopefully you guys can cook. You know, it's good to like have these debates, you know, where you guys go at it. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just be respectful for one another. And I think what I'll do here is I'll start a 3-minute timer. And at the end of when you're coming up on that last minute, I'll play that timer music. So you know you have your last minute. It's coming up there. And then to signify that we have reached the end of your time, you'll hear the air horn. And that means it's time for the other person to cook.
Well, 3 minutes might be a little long for a take, man. But we've got to keep it a little bit more condensed than that. But I think, yeah, we could do within 3 minutes. That should be perfect.
I think a minute is going to not be enough.
Okay. All right, you're setting the rules. Okay, I'll play by whatever rules you set. And by the way, he'll be in at 10:30, by the way. So in about 25 minutes, he'll be in. People already asking me the question, did I buy this shirt at Target yesterday? No. I've had this in my closet for a while. I typically wear it to UTSA football games. And why am I wearing it, Joe? It's because apparently UTSA is a baseball school beating the crap out of the Texas Longhorns back-to-back games, advancing to the Super Regional for the first time in school history. What is a Super Regional in college baseball, in the College Baseball World Series type of thing? It's the Sweet 16. There's 16 teams left, and UTSA advances. I believe we play UCLA next in LA.
Yeah, UCLA. So let me get this right, Mike. Today, you're always skirting the fence of UTSA or Texas State, right?
I get
today, you're a UTSA fan.
I get to ride or die with both, baby. I went to both schools. Went to both schools for 2 years. What can I say? I get to ride the maroon and gold. Man. I get to ride the orange and blue. Hey, man, I paid the tuition for both. Why not? But the fact of the matter was that it was an amazing weekend for the UTSA Roadrunners baseball team. You and I have joked in the past how that field that they play on is basically a Little League park, and it's true. I showed my girlfriend, who, by the way, cheers for UT. Last night we're watching the game. She cheered for UT. Her son, also here, graduated from UT. Chica's from Austin. They are UT fans, so we were a house divided last night. But the joke out of last night from Chica was, hey, is UTSA going to have to sell any sausage and brisket plates to have enough money to go to LA to take on UCLA? That is brutal. Apparently, we had enough gas money to go from San Antonio to Austin. But that program, Joe, I mean, I don't know if you watch
the baseball field, Mike. We've seen it.
Dude, the baseball field is worse than the high school fields in San Antonio.
The little league around the corner has better facilities, bro.
Little league parks have better facilities, have better places to sit. You go along the sidelines, there are no seats. There are no seats beyond the fence. It's just a backstop with about, I don't know, seating for 300 people maybe.
How much do they charge? Is $10 a ticket, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, basically you sit on your own cooler or you bring your own blanket to go to UTSA baseball games. We moved up in conferences, by the way. We're not in Conference USA anymore. We're in the American Athletic Conference, and because of that, we need to be treated as such. I mean, we're not a Power 4, Power 5 conference, but we're right below. But guess what, Joe? The number 1 team, Vanderbilt, out. The number 2 team, Texas, out. Dude, LSU is on the brink right now. All these small schools like Wright State who took out Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
UTSA who took out Texas. Dude, this is better than March Madness, man. The May/June Madness has been amazing.
You know what? I got to root for UTSA because my daughter goes to UTSA and my money paying for her tuition goes to UTSA. So I'm a UTSA fan.
I like the way that the pod system works in the College World Series. You get 64 teams. You have 16 pods. We were in the Austin pod, right? The Austin pod had UT, which was the home team, the number 1 seed. UTSA was the 2 seed. You had a Houston, not Houston Cougars, but you had a Houston Christian, I believe is what it was. And then you had Kansas State. And basically, it's a double elimination type of thing. Saturday night, Texas goes on to lose UTSA. And it's like UTSA beat them last month, by the way, in Austin. Goes out in this pod, beats them again. This was a Texas team that had people on base, first and second with no outs, back-to-back innings and couldn't score a run. Left so many runners on base, and Texas losing this game was a big deal for UTSA because UTSA only had to win 1 game. When UTSA beat Texas, it forced Texas to win 3 games in a row and play a doubleheader yesterday. Yesterday, Texas beat Kansas State to advance to the championship round, if you will, against UTSA, but they had to play them twice. Had Texas won yesterday, they would have played again today. But UTSA showed that they were the class of that pod. Dude, it wasn't a fluke. They beat Texas 3 times in a row at UT.
And we got an incoming super chat saying the same.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Look at Sam Salinas. Look what he's saying, Mike. He says,
say it. Not only did UTSA beat UT last night, they beat them twice this weekend, and we beat UT three times this year. Birds way up. Dude, UT was the number 2 team in the nation. UTSA beating them once. Hey, man, baseball's baseball. Sometimes you have hot pitching. Sometimes the bats are clicking, and it's baseball. But to beat them 3 times, Joe, you can say that UTSA was the better team, the better matchup against UT. And now you go on to what's essentially the Sweet 16, the Super Regionals, right? You're going to go to LA, play UCLA in a best-of-3 series. The confidence that UTSA has right now, knowing that they beat the second-ranked team on the road 3 times in a row, do you think they're going to be intimidated by UCLA? UCLA isn't even as highly ranked as UT. They are ranked, but if you look at the RPI, UTSA was considered to be the 25th best team entering this tournament. And just last weekend, by the way, were considered to be 100-1 odds to win it all. But UTSA is on fire right now. They're doing very, very, very well. Tex-Mex Frank reaches out and says, props to Mike for breaking down the UTSA win like a pro. That catch in the 5th inning by the center fielder. I don't know if you saw that, Joe. UTSA jumped out to a lead. Texas looks like they were going to roar back a little bit. There was a shot to center right. The center fielder laid out. And Chica looked at me and went, dude, he looked like a superhero. He laid out like Batman. He laid out like Superman. Like Superman, rather. He laid out, caught it, crashed into the wall. And it's like team of destiny, Joe. We talked about that with the Indiana Pacers. Team of destiny. When you win games that you shouldn't win, you feel like you're the team of destiny. And when they were catching balls, when there was a rocket sent to the third baseman, and the third baseman just snagged it, stopping a potential rally. It just seemed like a team of destiny type of situation. And Texas, by the way, who went up for like 18 runs, I believe, in the early game, somewhere in the double digits, they looked tired, Joe. They had no arms out there. All their pitchers were spent. UTSA was rested. Golly, Joe. This is a historic day for UTSA. And it's so funny. Leha reaches out and says, UTSA said, F your rankings. By the way, the All-American Conference that UTSA is in, undefeated this tournament against SEC schools. 4-0.
Yeah, we got another incoming super chat here, Mike. Let's go ahead and address this one.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Says, I'm a bad UTSA alumnus. I don't give a crap. A sheet, he says. But here's $4.99 for the podcast. Go Birds.
Thank you, man.
Joe, UTSA gives so much love to the football team. And deservedly so, because they had a good run there. But it's nice to see another UTSA team do well in sports, in athletics, right? We're not going to go celebrate a lot of different sports out there. But, man, baseball, it's an interesting deal because you look at the players from UTSA. They looked, Joe, small in comparison to the UT players, just in size and stature. The UT players look like 4- and 5-star recruits, like they could go line up and play football if they wanted to. They all had the facial hair and everything. And I made the joke to Chica last night that it looked as though the UTSA players were all from Floresville, Pleasanton, were all from the South Side. They look wiry Mexican, wiry Latino, wiry white guy. And you could tell if the UTSA team, I bet you, if all of those guys were on the UT roster, they wouldn't play. But it just shows how important it is to play as a team. UT knocked out at home. Vandy knocked out at home. LSU potentially knocked out tonight at home. We got nothing from March Madness. At least we got something from college baseball.
Look what Sam Salinas says. He says, Tulane apparently is our kryptonite, though. He says, we lost to them twice in the AAC tourney, which is why we're in as an
at-large
yeah.
bid. But got ranked number 2. So UTSA was supposed to be in the finals of that pot. They were supposed to take on Texas, right? It's not unheard of that UTSA was going to go to that position. The question was, were they going to beat Texas? Because they had to beat them twice, and they did it on the road. That crowd out there for last night's game sucked for UT. I don't know if it was because there were a lot of Roadrunner fans out there, or if they just felt like it was inevitable. Like how we were told that UTSA's kryptonite was Tulane. Maybe, just maybe, UT's kryptonite is UTSA. Meantime, Peter Burns of ESPN, who's from San Antonio, went to UTSA, was on the SEC Network a couple of days ago saying, we're going to party it up at University Oaks, which was fun, Joe. I don't know how much of this game you caught, but it was amazing. I am proudly wearing my UTSA gear today, Joe. And I'll be in studio tomorrow and Wednesday.
Proudly wearing the UTSA gear. I never seen you wear a UTSA anything.
Dude,
every going time, back to last year, bro.
When I throw down the fireball at UTSA football games, I wear the orange and blue.
I never seen it.
Alex Noriega reaches out to us on our YouTube stream, which, by the way, is powered by MCS General Contracting, saying it's Birds Up Monday. Go Runners. If they can take down number 2 Texas, they can definitely take down number 15 UCLA. Got to fly out there to LA to play, baby. Man, Lerma's in the house saying, what's up, Vatos?
What's up, Matt? And what's up, Sith? Sith was saying that we ignored his good morning chat. And I said, no, we didn't ignore it. I'm sorry if I missed it, but we appreciate you tuning in and watching, Sith. Sith's always a contributor to the show as well.
Yeah. Whoo, Joe, I have not been so excited watching college baseball in a long, long time. But again, congratulations to UTSA. What a historic day for the city of San Antonio, for the UTSA Roadrunner program. Again, basically making it to the Sweet 16, which is a super regional. Outstanding. They're playing with house money at this point, Joe. With house money at this point. Best of 3 series. They've got some good arms. They've got a good middle reliever and a good closer. They've got some – Joe –
you have we have Quan joining the stream here
already, a little bit early.
Already.
Okay, so let's talk about this, Joe. We'll bring Quan in. Quan, what's going on, man? Good morning. He's a little bit early. What's going on, my man?
There he is.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, Quan?
The man, the myth, the legend, Quan Wick, the final Quan in the house. What's going on, my man?
Welcome.
Hey, dude, I dig the glasses.
Thanks for having me on the 2-1 Ho podcast.
That's funny he says that because Leia was just telling me what's the over under before Quan says ho.
Leia, you win the bet, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I had to come show myself after I was called a pain in the ass, bro. So here I am. I'm happy to chat it up, bro.
Okay. So
side, bro.
You know what's funny, Quan, is that
clip,
Mike was like, oh, this guy Quan or whatever. And I was like, the funny thing is like I was the one sticking up for Quan. And I'm like, hey, Quan's been a big contributor to Spurs Twitter, man.
And I'm gonna let you know something else. Okay, first of all, I know who Quan is, right? But when somebody mentioned you the other day, gonna be honest with you, kind of was thinking of somebody else. So you caught a stray, is what I'm saying.
Sounds like it.
Now here's the thing. I can tell you who I was thinking of, but then that's gonna start a whole new Twitterverse thing.
Don't go down that rabbit hole, bro. You know how to
Now here's the thing.
Twitter's toxic as F, dude. It's horrible, man.
I'm seeing all these comments come in. You guys move quick with all this. That's the first hoe of the game. There it is. Yeah. Hey, bro, that's right. We got a lot of drama in the Spurs Twitterverse. I love every second of it. Most of the time, I just want everybody to know I'm sitting here with my phone in my hand laughing at all of you. You do not bother me, not a little bit. You're all clowns. You're all hoes. And I'm ready to get this show going, boys.
All right. So, Joe, tell us the rules. Joe, tell us the rules, because we've gone back and forth with Quan about how we're going to handle this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it's a debate format. Okay, it's not going to be Screaming A. Smith and Skip Bayless back in the day. When one talks, the other one, will absorb it. The other one will we'll be polite about it, right? But we'll get the takes in. So here's the thing. Before we go on to this, a good friend of mine was asking about this debate between me and you, Quan, and was like, you do realize that this is like the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other, right?
Hey, at least I've got a Spider-Man suit on, bro. That's all I got.
Oh, look at this. Sam Selena says Quan looks like he's ready to cook. Mike looks scared.
Wait. 1 second. Take me off screen. Take me off screen, Joe. Take me off screen.
That was quick.
Oh, he's going to have to go ahead and change or something. He's going to get something ready. I already know him. He's going to go and put on some fight attire or something like that. But the rules of the thing are the debate.
Here, bro.
The rules of the debate are I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes each to talk because Mike was like a minute. And I'm like, a minute's not enough time. So we're going to do 3 minutes, you and him going back and forth. And you'll know that we reached the end because you're going to hear the air horn. And that's okay. Now it's time for the other person to go ahead and talk. And we'll just go ahead and do it that way. So we're going to try to be as fair as we can for you and Mike. And the Mike's not allowed to interrupt you during your 3 minutes. Your 3 minute rant, Mike. I'm going to mute your mic if he tries to come in here and bother Quan because we're going to be respectful.
I had to do a costume change, baby. I had to take off the UTSA gear. Get ready, baby, because it's got to suit up.
Hey,
got to suit up.
the wardrobe department at the 210 podcast is live today.
All right. So who has the honors of asking the first question, Joe?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. You and Quan have both been very, very, very vocal when it comes to what the Spurs needed to do, right? Both good and bad. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and ask you both the same question. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Quan first, because he's been the most vocal, I think, of Spurs Twitter on here. And you know what the funny thing is that him and Hollywood Nixon, a lot of Spurs fans came for them, right? In the beginning, when they were kind of ahead of the curve, you know, because they were saying a lot of things that Spurs fans didn't like. But now it's funny how the tables have turned, and now Spurs Twitter is kind of seeing the light when it comes to what Quan and Hollywood Nixon were saying way back when, you know. So it's like we're gonna go ahead and give Quan the first I guess trip up on the stage there to go ahead and talk and let us know what your thoughts are, Quan, when it comes to where you think the Spurs went wrong and where you think they need to go in the future here. So we're going to go ahead and start with you. And I'm going to go ahead and start the timer now. The timer is starting now. Floor is yours.
All right. So I just want to say to begin, regardless of what any follower may think, I love this team more than I should. All right. I have been a fan of this team since 1991. Just like every one of us has an idiot or two in our family, we have an idiot or two in our Spurs fan base. And I would say it's more than one or two. There's plenty of people out here who they've got issues with other fans or other parts of the organization. I want all of your opinions and I want all of your takes. And here's mine. The San Antonio Spurs are living off the inertia of past titles. I don't care who is in the front office. I don't care who's on the sideline. This is an organization that still clings to life before 2014. They haven't adapted. And in a lot of ways, I'd be bold enough to say that some of them haven't gotten over themselves, as much as our fearless leader, Gregg Popovich, has suggested that they do. I love Gregg Popovich, greatest coach of all time. That's for you, Hollywood Nixon. He's the greatest coach of all time. There is no debate about that. He is the best. He's also past his prime, and he should have hung it up years ago. Because the San Antonio Spurs continue to hold on to this past legacy, they're trying to build an organization and build a dynasty right now when the dynasty doesn't exist anymore. The dynasty days for NBA teams are gone. Our last 7 titles, 7 different champions. We're about to have another title between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, new champions. The collective bargaining agreement does not allow for you to have titles anymore. It allows for you to have title windows. And the San Antonio Spurs have not been prepared. They have not been prepared to adjust to the new era, and they haven't been able to adjust to the era of Victor Wembanyama. That's what sucks. It sucks to watch the team that we love continue to try and spin their wheels in the past, the way that they've always done it, and not adapt to the new world. I love my San Antonio Spurs enough to call it out. I love it. I love them enough to say they're wrong, and I don't like the direction where they're going. How do you take the best prospect in NBA history and you give it a new coach and a GM who is only been used to losing? We haven't surrounded him with winning players, and that's what breaks my heart about the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay. Before I get to my take, I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
Quan.
We're letting the timer go off. Quan.
Oh, was that the timer? I thought
That's
that was
the timer.
Air horn. My fault, bro.
No, it's gonna have the air horn. So the air horn is gonna be at the end, like 3, 2, and 1. Your 3 minutes are up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play that music when you have a minute left, so you know, okay, that you got a minute left. Sorry, my bad. I needed to tell you that.
Before getting to my take, I want to have a follow-up question for Quan, because he mentioned something. He mentioned something saying to the effect that the Spurs were not ready for Wemby. I mentioned last week on this podcast, on the Area 210 podcast, that I thought that Wemby going to the Spurs was probably the worst place for him to go at the time. Maybe Charlotte was worse, but he'd probably be playing right now if Detroit had gotten him or if Houston had gotten him. Fact or fiction there, Quan?
We lost your audio.
We lost your audio.
There,
Sorry,
I think you're good now.
I had a mute on. If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, bro. It's tough to say. I have a hard time saying that it's like the worst place for him to go. I don't think it's the worst place for him to go. I just don't think the Spurs are managing it. Mike, I'd like to read you a tweet. There was a young man named The Final Quan on X who once said in March 31st, 2023, Mike, that was 2 years ago. Joe, that was 2 years ago. This is what this young man said. The Spurs are not ready to land Victor Wembanyama. I don't think they are prepared to do what is necessary, to build a team fitting for that level of talent. They'll have a mess on their hands if they get him. I tweeted that before they even got the number 1 pick. And where are we today? Okay. Boys? You guys, I understand people don't like us, Mike, but don't fault me whenever I start preaching the gospel.
No. I agree. If you could start by 2 or 3 minutes, first of all, I love the fact that you said what you said. Okay. There was somebody, I believe it was Sith Elias, saying, "Oh, look, Michael's fallen in love with his take," because I fell in love with about 80% of it. Okay. First and foremost, when I say that it was a bad situation for Victor Wembanyama, it was at the time. It was back in May of 2023, June of 2023. It was a bad situation for him. It is getting better, and it's trending the right way. And I hate the fact that I'm saying stay the course, because I have not been a stay the course kind of guy. I have been part of Team F them picks for so long. But that all changed a couple of weeks ago when the Spurs got the number 2 pick, and we now have Dylan Harper in our eyes, right? It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen.
All right, Mike, you ready? Here's your 3
minutes. So here we go.
All right, here we go in 3, 2, and 1.
So here I am taking notes on what you're saying here, okay? First of all, that the Spurs have not gotten over themselves. I 100% agree, man. We want fireworks. I get that, but I 100% agree with that, because as long as Pop is still in the building, they're not going to get over themselves. That is fact. And RC Buford, everybody else, right? You needed to have an infusion of youth, and hopefully Mitch Johnson can be that guy to take over the team, and maybe they rely less and less on Pop. But the fact of the matter is he's still in the building. The shadow is still there. The GOAT of this franchise is there. I'm not going to say he's the GOAT of all time. He's on the Mount Rushmore. I'll give you that. He's on the Mount Rushmore, because he's not the GOAT to me of all time. In fact, I don't even have a GOAT. I don't say it's Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach. I just think there's a Mount Rushmore of it all, because you kind of need to know when to leave. He should have left in 2014. Oh my God, if he had left in 2014, he would have been the GOAT of GOATs, because he would have gone out a champion like Robinson did in 2003. He could have gone out that way, gone out in class and style. Instead, he ended with 6 losing seasons in a row. I'm sorry, that kind of takes a little bit of the shine away. But that being said, the fact that he's still in the room, it's a big shadow. You're still looking over your shoulder. RC Buford, there needs to be a change. And here's the thing, the arrogance of that franchise. And I'm going to tell you what the arrogance, the pinnacle of the arrogance, 2 things. When Pop took the microphone and told everyone not to boo Kawhi Leonard. The second was when the Spurs were not honest with the fan base about Pop's health. That was arrogance. That was not privacy. That was arrogance, right? But here's the thing. Quan, you posted all this on Twitter the other day. You said the Spurs are not our family. They don't care about us. Oh, my God. The balls to tweet that, all right? It's actual and factual, like TLC said back in the 90s, right? It's actual and it's factual that is true. They don't care about us. We care about them, right? We care about them. The 2 most arrogant franchises state of Texas happen to be the Dallas Cowboys and the San Antonio Spurs, because like Quan says, we look back at 2014, we look back at 07, 05, 03, and 99, and we still live in that. The Cowboys are still living in the 90s titles, right? And Spurs fans are starting to talk like Cowboy fan. Well, how many titles do you got? Well, crap, dude, are we going to have this conversation in 2040, right? Here's the thing. At the end of the day, the Spurs are on the right path right now. And whatever direction that they go in, whether it be go get Giannis, who, by the way, is now, according to Shams Charania, open now to other teams. Now that he uses the phrase that they're open, the Spurs can go that direction. The Spurs can go the direction of having Dylan Harper. But I disagree with one thing about Quan.
Time's up, Mike.
You said on Twitter, well, it's going to be my question for him. The one thing I disagree with is that you said on Twitter, if I read this correctly, that you don't want Dylan Harper starting in front of Stephon Castle or playing together somehow, some way. Please explain how that, what your thinking is with that.
Yeah, so I'm very much in the camp of trading your pick away. I don't think that that's a good environment to have Wemby. I think it makes us look cheap. I'm very much against like this whole we need to build slowly. No, I mean, we've got a 7'4". Some people are saying he's 7'6", 7'7" now. I don't care how great he is. He's a 7'6" dude with feet that might go at any weekend. He's played 2 years. He hasn't played a full season in either year. He's supposed to be the defensive player of the year, but he hasn't met the threshold yet. Your title window is closing. You have to maximize this as much as you want. So I'm very much against that. I'm very much involved in the whole trade your pick. If there's a way to get Giannis, I'm going to get Giannis. He's an MVP caliber player. What are we doing trying to talk ourselves out of this? It doesn't make any sense to me. My argument to your point that I was talking about, I fully believe in the 3-guard lineup. I love the 3-guard lineup. I play a 3-guard lineup in where I coach at right now. Granted, totally different dynamic. I do not coach in the NBA, but I love 3-guard lineups because it makes your offense dynamically interchangeable. It makes you to where if defense takes away one thing, you're not giving anything up. However, you got to have the right 3 guards. And I think that there is a scenario where De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, and Steph Castle can play together on the court at the same time. I think we're getting a little too big for our britches when we start saying that a number 2 overall pick who played in Rutgers, that everybody is just projecting. He hasn't done it. He hasn't performed. His dad was a role player. Like, I'm not trying to hate on Big Ron, but his dad was a role player.
He was a 5-time champ.
5-time champ coming, started a few of those, came off the bench. They might have cross-matched a few times. Like, let's call a spade here, bro. Steph Castle just went out and won the Rookie of the Year. He won it over 3 people who had been picked ahead of him. You could sit here and say, oh, there was an injury. Steph Castle won the Rookie of the Year. You want it going away. What are we doing when we take a guy like Victor Wembanyama? We get lucky enough to get a back-to-back Rookie of the Year, and our fans are going, no, give me that unproven guy from Rutgers. He's better than the Rookie of the Year that we just had in-house.
It's because he is a better caliber player. It's because he was better, and he was a better college player than Castle was. And here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Are you talking about NCAA champion Steph Castle?
Yes. Okay. First of all, let's backtrack a little bit. Okay. Stephon Castle. I was singing his praise and saying that I wanted the Spurs to get him in the December prior to the NBA draft. So I was all about Castle for the longest time. So I'm not going to diss Castle and say that he was a bad college player. He was a great college player. He was a 6th man at UConn. They won the national championship. He had an amazing run. He was playing out of position to the point where he's playing the same out of position that he is now. He's a point guard who's being forced to play shooting guard, right? But Dylan Harper has better shooting ability. He has a little bit more refined of a game at this stage of the game. Right now, Castle's better than Harper. What it looks like to me is that Harper might have a higher ceiling. This is a great problem to have. It's like, oh my God, we have 2 players who have high ceilings. That's amazing.
Not when you have Wemby. I don't want ceilings. I want floors when you have Wemby. I need guys who are doing it now.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. We Joe and I debate this the entire time. Is Wemby in fact a generational player?
Yes. That's silly. I mean, he's. There's never been anything like him. There's never been anything like him.
Okay, now let me ask you one other question. You mentioned a 3-guard set. You mentioned a 3-guard set, right? Let's say that we don't get Giannis, right? We don't get Giannis, and we have a set out there with Fox, Castle, and Harper, right? Would you be supportive? Because this is my take for the longest time. Would you be supportive of Mitch Johnson looking at Wemby and going, dude, you're 7'6" now? We saw this when they gave Castle the Rookie of the Year award, and they had that photo of the four of them, and Duncan didn't go up to Wemby's chin. He's 7'6" now.
He's up there.
At some point, are you supportive of Mitch Johnson looking at Wemby and going, get your ass down low? Get your ass down low. Why are you shooting 8 or 9 3-pointers a game? Get your ass down low. Should Mitch Johnson do that, yes or no?
No, absolutely not. And you know why this is? Here's the shocking thing that people have not understood in our fan base with our new player who is a franchise cornerstone, who is the best prospect in NBA history. I'm going to give everybody a little secret. Wemby's not a center. Wemby is a small forward. The way that this guy moves, the way that he handles the ball, the way that he moves on the perimeter, he is not a center. Defensively, he plays like a center. Offensively, he's not that. That is why he is the greatest prospect in NBA history. Not because he's a 7'6" center. It's because we've never seen anything like this dude before. This hoe runs back and forth, front and back, baseline to baseline in like 4 steps. And he can guard a number of people. I'm not saying go put him out there on Ja Morant, let him, guard him full court. I'm saying this guy moves different. Now he's got big feet. We have to worry about those feet. He's got big ankles and big knees. We have to worry about that stuff. But he moves like a small forward. So if that's the case, I have no problem playing him defensively as a center. But on offense, he's going to be the guy taking threes, not Steph Castle. And I'm okay if I have another center-like. Can I have a Naz Reid to come along, play alongside Wemby? Can I have a Jared Jackson Jr. since the Grizzlies are about to blow this thing to smithereens? Can I have him come and play alongside next to Wemby? Can I have a Giannis come play next to Wemby? Like, these are the prototypes that would go better with a 3-guard lineup. Give me 2 big rim protectors. Give me Wemby who moves on the perimeter and another who doesn't, and I'm ready to rock from there. If I can get that other big kind of like center on offense, but rim protector on defense, and let Wemby go out there and be on the perimeter, man, I think the best thing for Mitch Johnson is he can get out of Wemby's way. Let Wemby be Wemby. You don't know how to coach Wemby. Nobody has ever coached a Wemby.
He needs to get his shooting percentage up from 3 to at least 35%. Because if he's out there shooting 30, 31%, then it's actually detrimental to the team. Him being a 7'6" guy playing small forward is detrimental to the team. You want to be a small forward? Shoot like a small forward. If you're not, get your ass down low.
Beer 5 months ago. He's out here drinking Shinerbach for the first time.
He's 2 seasons away from a Supermax, dude. He's 2 seasons away from a Supermax. What do you want? Gilbert reaches out to us on our YouTube stream, our chat line powered by MCS General Contracting, saying Wemby's not a big man. He's just a tall man.
Thank you.
Joe, do you want to do the next question, or do you want Quan to ask the next question?
Let's go ahead and see what Quan wants to ask. I think that'd be a good question.
Mike, I got a question for you. What is the number one at this moment in time? Victor Wembanyama is the most valuable asset to the San Antonio Spurs. What or who is the second most valuable asset to the San Antonio Spurs?
As of right now?
As of today, where we sit on June 2nd in the 2025th year of our Lord.
Okay, first of all, I like the way that you phrase it like Mike Taylor. We love it. I would say that probably the second biggest member of the Spurs team right now.
Or asset. Or pick.
You're not going to like it. I'm going to go off and say Dylan Harper. I'm going to say it's that number 2 pick.
Who doesn't play for the San Antonio Spurs, right?
Well, when I say Dylan Harper, I'm saying it's a number 2 pick because that could be used one of 2 ways. He could be that on the court itself, or because it's tradable. That's the second biggest aspect thing that we have in our tool, because De'Aaron Fox is expensive if you want to trade. It's also a bad look if the Spurs got rid of him, right? So the second biggest asset is the number 2 pick, whether he's on the court or not on the court, or he's tradable.
I would disagree with you. I fully believe with all my heart it's Stephon Castle. I think Stephon Castle elevated himself to be the number 2 most important asset. I think whatever the Spurs do right now have to be centered around Wemby and Steph moving forward. I put him ahead of that, and I would be hard pressed to give up Castle in a deal for Giannis.
Well, here's the thing, though, man. If you told the Milwaukee Bucks, hey, we're gonna trade, we want to get Giannis, right? But you can only have one of the two, Castle or the number 2 pick, Dylan Harper. They would probably take Dylan Harper.
Good. That helps me because I'm getting a 30-year-old MVP in his prime, and I'm keeping 2 back-to-back Rookie of the Years. Good. Take that.
Let me ask you.
Go run with Ron Harper into the sunset.
Now he didn't say good correctly, Joe. Tell him how we say good on this podcast.
When something bad happens, like Brett Favre being diagnosed with, was it Parkinson's? Mike goes, good.
Because he's a jackass. So we like to say the word good.
All right, good. Let him
I'm not a big fan of Caitlin Clark. She has a quad injury out 2 to 3 weeks. Good.
Clark slander's crazy, bro.
So let me ask you this. I had this big old debate with somebody on Spurs Twitter this past weekend. They were asking, like, I showed the GIF from Bugs Bunny back in the day when he struck out 3 people in a row, and I said that's the Spurs in 2022. Struck out on three draft picks. Blake Wesley's going to be out. Malachi Branham is going to be out, and Jeremy Sohan. Joe, what's the word that we use?
What?
Gone.
What's
Gone.
his name going to be? Gone.
I honestly believe that this is the final year of Jeremy Sohan on the Spurs roster. I believe because he's going to be a restricted free agent next year, someone's going to give him an offer he can't refuse, and the Spurs won't match. Your thoughts?
We really want to talk like the Spurs don't have a problem drafting players. Do we need to mention Lucas Chamanich? Do we need to mention? Can we say his name? Josh. Hello. It didn't matter if he flashed anyone or not. That dude wasn't going to be good. They took him with what number pick? Are we crazy here?
Yeah.
Look, I like Jeremy Sohan. I like his Swiss Army knife capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
He ain't worth 20 mil.
I'm sorry, what?
I said he ain't worth 20 mil.
Bro, I don't know that he's worth his rookie contract. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you're not 7 foot tall, like you don't get to just run around here and dye your hair cool colors and wear, really cool shoes and not be able. Dude couldn't hit the water if he fell out of a boat. Like you can't be that bad at shooting. And I see these videos circulating, and now I'm going to get on a soapbox here. I see these videos circulating. Wow, looks like Jeremy Sohan missed a shot. No, the team, the San Antonio Spurs that wanted to prioritize development for their guys, drafted a guy who couldn't shoot, drafted a guy who couldn't hit open shots, and then let Chip England walk to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who, oh, by the way, they're in the NBA Finals next week. So this is not a team that really wanted to develop Jeremy Sohan. They drafted him. They set him up for failure to begin with. I mean, hey, dude, you've never played point guard before. Hey, we're not putting a point guard around Victor Wembanyama. How about you go play point guard, Jeremy Sohan? And what did we see? The softest tank in the history of sports. This was a joke what they did to this guy. They drafted him. They set him up for failure. And now, dude, you got to hit the road. Not everybody can come along for the ride. I think Sohan is out. I think Keldon's been gone, but because he yells after he dunks.
Now, Quan, do you know what my favorite take on Spurs Twitter is? My favorite take is it's the one that makes me want to bang my head on the wall, right? Bang my head on the table. Well, if the Spurs hadn't gotten Samanic, and if the Spurs hadn't gotten Primo, and if the Spurs hadn't whiffed on Sohan, we wouldn't have gotten Wemby.
It's fine. Because you know what I would give up? For Wemby? A title.
So Joe and I have this theory that Brian Wright is a very good drafter when he has no other option. Like the number 1 pick in 2023, best player on the board was what? Was Wemby, obviously, right? 2024, it was Stephon Castle. Every other team would have chosen Stephon Castle at 4 also. Every other team would have chosen Wemby at number 1. But when it comes to like, hey, you got to make a decision at 14, you got to make a decision at 9 or 11, the dude whiffs every time.
Yeah, I mean, there's worse options than taking Dylan Harper at number 2. Like, I would prefer to trade the pick for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'd give up additional assets. If that were me, that's what I would do. But if it falls back to where, well, we're going to end up taking the pick at number 2, yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to take Dylan Harper at number 2. I'm fine with that.
I'm going to ask you all a question.
About number 14 and what they do with number 14. Because, again, they can't keep surrounding Victor Wembanyama with projects. And if you're going to draft at 2 and at 14, you better nail those picks. I'm has a history of nailing those picks.
Yeah. I want to ask you both the question, you and Quan.
Oh, go ahead.
The question that I'm going to ask you, and we're going to start with you, Mike, is the consensus is with the Spurs being healthy this coming season, right? You're going to have a healthy Wemby. You're going to have a healthy Fox. Hopefully, you're going to go ahead and get a Dylan Harper, that number 2 pick, healthy Castle. You're going to have a healthy Harrison Barnes, and everybody coming in the season. Looks like a good, decent team that's going to make a decent run. The consensus that Spurs fans have had here is it's going to be play-in or bust. Oh, with the healthy team, we're going to make the play-in. No, my fact, the way that I see things here is it's either playoffs or bust. Let's go ahead and go with you, Mike, because we've talked about this on the show. If the Spurs don't make the playoffs this season, is it a failed season? Go.
Yes, it is a failed season. And I'm not saying just playoffs as in play-in tournament. I'm talking about making the final 8, right? Just getting into the playoffs, being in the top 6 and making it. They have to do it this year. It's been 6 years of just mediocrity and below that. Here's the thing. Vegas is trending that way also. If you look at the Vegas odds, the Spurs have the 13th best odds to win the title right now, according to FanDuel. Have the 8th best odds to come out of the West. So I look at the Spurs team. Went from 22 wins to 34 wins. This was without having De'Aaron Fox on the roster most of the season. This was with Wemby missing 35 games. This is with all of that happened, that transpired. We have the number 2 pick. I think even without a Giannis or a Kevin Durant, this team is going to be a 500 or better team. But the question is, who's taking leaps? Wemby, can he take another leap? Castle, can he take another leap? Is Dylan Harper the truth? Is Dylan Harper potentially the 3rd rookie of the year in a row? This team needs to make the playoffs. And I think that the Spurs fan base needs to have expectations of this team because the days of tanking are over.
Okay. You didn't use your full 3 minutes, but that's good.
Oh, I don't need to.
We'll go ahead and pitch it to Quan now. Quan, it's your turn. You're on the clock. Go.
Yeah. So the playoffs. I mean, you kind of either gotta either go or get off the crapper here a little bit because we've been sitting here for a while. We've been waiting in this window. But the problem that we have for a group of people like our fan base who doesn't want to skip steps. We sure do want to skip a lot of steps whenever it comes from the playoffs. I think it's crazy that we saw the Western Conference be a bloodbath like it was this year. And we have the audacity to actually look at ourselves and be like, oh, yeah, but next year we're going to be a playoff team. Well, where? Because the Warriors and Lakers and Clippers continue to get better every year, even though they spend ridiculous money into the luxury tax. The Denver Nuggets have a high payroll. They're going to be in the playoffs again. My point is I can go down. The Thunder aren't going to get any worse. Where are these drop-offs going to come from where we're suddenly going to just make little steps along the way and little tweaks to this roster, like drafting the number 2 and the number 14 pick, and then suddenly that's going to vault this team into the playoffs? I don't see that. If you want to get to the playoffs, you want to be an NBA champion, you first have to be a play-in team. And I think that has been where people don't understand this. You don't go from being the 13th worst team in the NBA to now suddenly you're the 5th best team and you're a title contender. If you guys want that, if people want this, then they need to get off their high horse. They need to take every single one of those draft picks that they have, and they need to be on the phone with Milwaukee. They need to be on the phone with Phoenix. They need to be trying to get players who are proven and developed. I'm blown away at how often we hear people make this argument that the San Antonio Spurs are just going to keep drafting talent when they don't hit on draft picks. They hit on obvious draft picks that you, me, Joe, any of us could make. Anybody could draft Wemby. Anybody could draft Castle. You're not finding hidden gems. When was the last time we found a Manu Ginobili in the draft?
Right.
When was the last time we found a Tony Parker? I'm sorry. When was the last time we found a Kawhi Leonard? Yeah, you can find a Tim Duncan. You can find a Tim Duncan. Everyone can find a Tim Duncan. All you need is the number 1 pick in the draft.
Well, I
gems. And how are you getting to the playoffs if you're not finding hidden gems and you're not making moves for players that are proven to put around your franchise player? I don't think that it's playoffs or bust. I think we're past that. I think now you've seen Brian Wright, who's going to slow play this thing. He's probably not going to trade for Giannis. He's probably not going to trade for KD. He's probably not going to trade for anybody other than maybe a few fringe choices around the edges here. He's probably going to give out a bad contract, more money to a guy like Zach Collins. Like, I'm terrified of when Mamu Kilashvili, his contract comes up. What's Brian Wright going to throw at him? Like, we don't have a history of this type of stuff putting around Wemby. So is there a playoff team or bust? No, but you've got to be in the play-in this year. No exception.
Well, one thing I will say, though, that I disagree with you on is that you're right. There are certain teams that are going to be in the playoffs next year because you know that they're good. Oklahoma City, Houston, Denver, we know that they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be very good teams. But I think a lot of teams in the Western Conference are taking the elevator down. I think the Clippers can't rely on a Kawhi Leonard. I think Minnesota's going to go downward. I think Golden State getting old. I think Memphis is going to be dysfunctional. Sacramento is Sacramento. Dallas, no Kyrie Irving next year. I know they're going to have the number 1 overall pick this year in Cooper Flagg.
Everyone in the teams named are better than the Spurs today.
No, but we have, but that's
have room to slide.
They all have room to slide, but what I'm saying is that the Spurs, if you believe in Wemby, that he's going to take a leap and that he is a generational talent, if you believe that Castle is the man, if the Spurs have a solid rookie in Dylan Harper, if now we don't know what we have with De'Aaron Fox. We had 17 games with De'Aaron Fox, and half of them were without Wemby. I'm looking at that right there, thinking to myself, we were a 34-win team despite it all last year. How many wins was De'Aaron Fox worth last year? If De'Aaron Fox was on this team last year, not for 17 games, but for 82, was that 6 extra wins, 10 extra wins? What would it have been?
I don't think it would have been enough to get past the Clippers, who didn't need Kawhi Leonard to get to the playoffs. I don't think it would be enough to get past the Warriors, who didn't even need Jimmy Butler to get into the playoffs. Right? Like there's things that these teams do that San Antonio Spurs fans don't watch other teams. Most Spurs fans only watch the Spurs. And so they don't realize that when the Dallas Mavericks trade away Luka Doncic in the worst trade in NBA history, no one's arguing that the Dallas Mavericks are still a better team than the San Antonio Spurs.
There's no lies detected.
They don't realize that the number 1 team that I hate the most, my biggest rival, are those idiots from Houston. And if you live in Houston, I'm sorry for you. You should leave. But Houston people, that Houston Rockets team that I hated the first time that I saw the Dream cook David Robinson in his MVP campaign. I was at Game 5 that year as a little kid, and that broke my spirit. I've hated the Houston Rockets ever since then. They're still better than the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, the Rockets have a lot of talent there, man. Colin Reed reaches out to us in our chat powered by MCS General Contracting saying, in all caps, Fox had a broken finger, a healthy season. Full season of Fox and Wemby is 100% contender.
Fine. A full season of Fox. Are they still better than the Rockets? No. Are they still better than the Clippers? No. Are they still better than the Nuggets? No. Are they better than the Thunder? No. Are they better than the Mavs? Probably not. Because I could say the same thing. Well, if Kyrie didn't tear his ACL, like if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. We're not the only team that is trying to get better. We are not the only team that had injuries. That's part of the game. And we have to watch teams other than the San Antonio Spurs.
Let me ask. Can I ask a question, Joe?
Go ask a question.
Okay, so Joe. So Quan, we have debated this back and forth, me and Joe, over the past few months about how Castle got better because he went to the school of Chris Paul, the same school that we saw SGA go through. SGA played with Chris Paul for 1 season, got to rub off of him, got to have the corporate knowledge. He's now an all-star. He's now a superstar. He's now an MVP. Does Wemby need to have that mentor on the court? Because we're looking at the possibility of getting a Kevin Durant. You have mentioned earlier that Wemby is not a center. He is a small forward, that he plays a lot like who? like Kevin Durant. Then why not get Kevin Durant on this team as opposed to a Giannis to teach Wemby how to be that type of player? No different than Chris Paul mentoring Stephon Castle. Your thoughts?
Yeah, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I'm all for skinning cats. I'm not a fan of cats, but I would say in the realm of like, if you can get an MVP in his prime, which that's what Giannis is, he is an MVP candidate. If you can get him, you move heaven and earth to get him. Okay, what do you do if it takes? I have so many people. It takes two to tango. You don't know what Brian Wright's saying. What Brian Wright's trying to offer everything, and Milwaukee won't do it, and all this kind of stuff. Shut up. If you want him, you'll go overpay. And there's a friend that I follow on here, Austin DeVos, and he was the first person I ever heard to mention the Spurs are going to have to pay the Wemby tax. Any team that you call and make a trade with, they're going to tax you extra because it's Wemby. So you better be prepared to pay a little bit more than market value just because nobody wants to help the Spurs who got Wemby. All that said, you don't want to go trade for Giannis? Fine. KD is going to be cheaper. He's older. You could probably keep the number 2 pick and Steph Castle. There is a world where you could probably throw, this is what I would do, you'd probably throw Keldon Johnson, the number 14 pick, maybe a little piece of salary filler in here, and maybe another first down the road that has some protections on it. You get two first-round picks, 2 young players. Let's call it Keldon Johnson and Malachi Branham. You call Phoenix, who is in cap hell, who has no draft picks. They don't have any type of assets. You tack on a couple extra seconds, maybe 3 or 4 at the end, which the Spurs have been hoarding for years. They're not getting anything out of their second-round draft picks anyways. We haven't found our Draymond Green in the second round. We haven't found our Jokic in the second round. So they're not getting anything out of those. I would just maybe overpay a little bit for KD because KD is one of the few players that Wemby respects. That list probably is about 3 names short. It probably has KD, which is a little bit irrational, but he would still respect what KD has to give him. I think it's Giannis, and I do think it is Nikola Jokic. I think those are 3 players that could push and challenge Wemby. Zach Collins, Bismack Biyombo, these guys are not going to they're not going to challenge, they're not going to push Wemby, they're not going to make Wemby better. There is value in overpaying for a player like Giannis or even KD, which I know Spurs fans are split on, but there's value in that because that player will not only come in and help your team, they can take up minutes when Wemby finally goes to the bench. The non-Wemby minutes last year were atrocious. They were god-awful. Yes, Fox will help with some of that. Yes, Castle will develop a little bit with some of that. But if you're telling me now I can go kick it out to Kevin Durant and he can go play 22 to 25 minutes a game and go guarantee me 25 points a night, 20 points a night, I'll take that. And I'll overpay for a little bit because the overpay that everybody likes to sit here and say, you can't overpay. That's not worth it. The Spurs need to hold on to this. No, that's an investment in Victor Wembanyama's development. The overpay is if I can get a player like that. You don't overpay for LaMelo Ball. You don't overpay. You don't go out here and overpay for Norm Powell. You overpay for players that make a difference. Another player that people are laughing at me for, why haven't the Spurs called the Minnesota Timberwolves and been like, hey, Wemby's on a rookie contract right now. His good friend, Rudy Gobert, you guys are trying to get off that contract. We'll eat the money while Wemby's on this. How about you sell Rudy for us for 30 cents on the dollar? And they get why are they not trying to get other Frenchmen? What was the guy's name from that just went to he played with Wemby last year? He plays for Philadelphia right now. Yumi, I can't remember his name. He was a French kid. He was sitting around as an undrafted free agent on a year where the Spurs needed depth. Yeah, the guy that played for Boston back in the day. He's trying to get back in the league, and Brian Wright's like, no, we don't need another French guy on our team. Why is Nicholas Batum not considered to come in here and play a stretch 4 position next to Wemby?
Well, Batum's like 90 years old. Batum's like 90. That's why.
Quan, I'm going to ask you a question because you said something there that stood out to me. And this is what we've kind of been telling Spurs fans. We've even shown them the comparison stat-wise with one Kevin Durant and Devin Vassell. I'm like, Kevin Durant is a better version of Devin Vassell when you're looking at just their pure stats and as far as what Kevin Durant can do out there on the court, because Kevin Durant is a better shooter. He's more consistent. Your thoughts on that?
So it's on is I want to understand the question.
Well, the thing is like, do you think Kevin Durant would be able to contribute more to the team than Devin Vassell does currently right now?
I think so. I mean, there's a large reason why people are against Kevin Durant right now. That if you don't watch the Phoenix Suns, you look at this and go, Kevin Durant's 37 years old. He has an Achilles tear. He's older. He doesn't move like he used to. I don't want Kevin Durant on my team. What people don't understand is how bad that Phoenix team was in shambles. Kevin Durant was being taxed with like 32, 35 minutes a night, where he was their lone rim protector. Like he was their defender. Kevin Durant, post Achilles tear, was having to carry an offensive and a massive defensive load. You're telling me that Kevin Durant can come into this and he can guard the other, like he can guard, like let Wemby guard the big, right? Wemby's going to guard the big. Let Kevin Durant, he can play like the other big. Can Kevin Durant guard a guy like Pascal Siakam while Wemby guards Miles Turner? Okay, that's fine. I don't need Kevin Durant to guard Miles Turner. I need him to guard the Siakam version. If I play the Denver Nuggets, Kevin Durant's going to guard Michael Porter Jr. instead of Jokic. That's what he was doing last year in Phoenix. So if I can get Kevin Durant to come to the San Antonio Spurs and go, hey, look, man, I don't know what was going on with you in Phoenix where Devin Booker was giving you, some perimeter shooting, but you had nothing else. Bradley Beal gave you nothing. We've got De'Aaron Fox. We've got the rookie of the year last year in Steph Castle. Oh, yeah, we're going to have the number 2 pick in Dylan Harper. And then we have that big, French Gumby guy that's out here, 7'6" now, by the way, dude. So, Kevin, all we really need you to do is play help side rotation defense, contest a little bit at the rim. And then when Wemby goes off the court, you go get into screen and rolls with De'Aaron Fox, and then he's going to pick and pop you and let you isolate on the left side of the court exactly where you like it for 25 to 28 minutes a night instead of 35 to 37 minutes a night. Can I have that version of Kevin Durant? Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll take it.
I'll give up the number 14, and I think he is going to be a better impact than Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell's on my short list. I'm not selling my Devin Vassell stock, but I'm certainly not buying anymore. That guy he's got to have an opportunity, and he didn't produce like he needed to last year.
Quan, guess who's getting some love on our chat powered by MCS General Contracting?
Oh boy.
Getting some love right now is Brian Wright.
Why?
Okay.
Why?
I mentioned this last week on the show, on the Area 210 podcast. I mentioned the fact that as much as I hate Brian Wright, as much as I hated all his draft picks from 2017 to 2024, right? Except for the obvious ones. He batted 1,000 for me last year. And it's hard to say that because he has done so bad for this franchise. But last season, getting De'Aaron Fox, getting rid of that Zach Collins contract, which I know he's the one who gave him the contract to begin with. Drafting Stephon Castle, making the moves that he made. Brian Wright batted 1,000 last season. He's a pretty he got Fox at 10 cents on the dollar.
It's crazy.
Okay, I'm not saying okay. What I'm saying is he was like an FD kind of guy last season. A+. Is this where we're going to diverge? Is this where you're going to give me some crap?
That's like saying when a kid comes home and they're like, oh, I got a D, and you're like, how'd you get a D? You get a D for writing your name on the paper. De'Aaron Fox wanted to go to San Antonio. He didn't want to go anywhere else.
I get that. And his wife is from San Antonio. I get that, right? But
for that, bro.
But you're either going to give up 50 cents on the dollar or 10 cents on the dollar. No. What I'm saying is what he gave up for it was pretty badass.
He didn't. It had nothing to do with it. He had all the leverage because De'Aaron Fox picked up the phone, had already talked to Steph Castle. He's already talking to the San Antonio Spurs. How about Steph Castle completed that trade?
Give him some credit for not messing it up, man. Come on.
Don't wreck the Mercedes. That's all that was. You don't get credit for. I have the number 4 pick in the draft, and Steph Castle's right there. We'll take Steph.
What did we say, Mike? With Quan, this is funny because me and Mike have both said that Brian Wright, his feet should be held to the fire when it comes to how well he's going to draft moving forward, because he made obvious picks when it came to Wemby, when it came to Castle, you know?
Yeah, don't do that. Don't sit here, Mike, and go give this man flowers for doing what he was supposed to do.
All I'm saying is 5 or 6 years he was bad at his job. Maybe he's getting better at his job. Maybe he's getting a little bit better. Hey, is there anybody?
His old team, the Detroit Pistons, yeah, they were in the NBA playoffs this year. His old team, the Orlando Magic, yeah, they were in the NBA playoffs this year. After he left, Brian Wright is an expert tanker. I'm not giving this man any credit. I'm not giving him any credit for picking up the phone and being like, "Hey, Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox wants to come here. He's not going to re-sign with you guys. So what did they give up? They gave up like a couple T-shirts from Academy and some second picks. They give him nothing for him. He didn't even get value out of this."
Brian Wright, High Man reaches out and says, "Brian Wright is on auto pick."
You don't even show up, Otto.
Okay, so my next question for you is 4 words. In Mitch we trust?
Hell no. Hell no. This is a setup to fire him in 18 months. He's
set up to fire him. Okay, please explain.
18 months.
Yeah, no, look, great opportunity for Mitch. I wish him the best. All of us who are Spurs fans, we've got to sit here and support this guy, right? That's what we have to do. He's our coach. He's in uniform. I saw those ATOs that he drew up, man. I saw those rotations. This is not a serious – you can't sit here and tell me that in one breath you want to be serious about winning with Victor Wembanyama and you want to have conversations. You think Giannis is like, "Oh, thanks, you guys. 2 years ago I was in a title window. Now I need to go play with a first-time head coach who's unproven? That signed me up." Now, this is going to be 2 years of this organization trying to get out of the mud, trying to redefine themselves, find a new identity. I'm going to say somewhere around 2/3 of this roster needs to be turned over. Respectfully, love some of these guys. You're going to have a few holdovers. Guys like Julian Champagnie, who are on non-guaranteed deals. They're going to stick around. They're going to stick around longer than people realize. They're going to stick around like Mamu, and they're going to be here because of their contract stuff. But you're not going to get new talent coming in here from Mitch Johnson. They're going to dance around. They're going to fumble this around. And then in like 18 months, they're going to have to fire him because he's underperforming. And then they have to bring in a good coach. I do want to say, I think it's crazy. It is crazy how many coaches are available right now and with winning backgrounds.
Malone was let go for a reason. Okay, here's the thing. You get Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla. What track record did Joe Mazzulla have? What track record did Joe Mazzulla have? 0. Ime Udoka, 0. Dude, the trend is get Eric Spoelstra, 0. The trend is get the guy in your 30s who's pretty smart and try to get them going. Why get a retread? Why get a Brett Brown? Why get a Mike Budenholzer? I know Budenholzer.
Gregg Popovich came from the Golden State Warriors.
Exactly.
And then he was the greatest coach ever.
How much head coaching experience? You're proving my point.
I'm not proving your point. I'm saying he came from another organization. He was a retread. Why Mike Malone just proved that he can win a title with an MVP caliber player. You know what Doc Rivers proved that he couldn't do with Giannis? Win an MVP caliber player. So we're telling me that Mike Malone can't come over here and win with Wemby, but Mitch Johnson, who I don't know that I'd take top 10 in a pickup ball game, I'm going to have him come over here and you now go coach Wemby. Why? I saw what you did last year. I wouldn't.
Hey, I blame Pop for all this because Pop should have left a long time ago. Okay, first of all, I was called an ageist by James Pledger of San Antonio Sports Star because even years ago, I was saying you do not draft Wemby and have Pop next to him. The whole idea of Pop deserved to stay as long as he wanted to stay was the biggest load of crap ever laid on Spurs fan ever. Okay, because at some point Time passes you by. Is he the GOAT? You can call him the GOAT. You have a legitimate argument of that. But at no point did anyone believe in 2022, 2023, 2024 that he was a top 15 coach anymore.
Nope.
Time had passed him by.
You can't fire him. You can't fire him.
Tom Landry was fired.
Look at the Cowboys.
They won 3 chips after that.
They won 2 chips after that. No, you're right. I'm sorry. They won the other one in what, the 1400s or something like that?
No, they won 2 under Jimmy Johnson, 1 under Barry Switzer.
Okay.
They won 3 after that.
That's fine. Where is their franchise now? It's in disarray. I don't want to be the Cowboys.
Baby. What are you talking about, Quan? We back.
How about those Spurs? How about those Spurs?
I am a Raiders fan because I'm a Spurs fan, and I don't want to change colorways. All right. So the Raiders are my team. We have an old coach too. Pete Carroll out here, running around older than God and still going and picking up offensive linemen up off the ground. So
Pete Carroll's a young 72 though, man. There's an old 72 and a young 72. He's a young one.
That's fine, but Gregg Popovich wasn't doing that. And we've seen Gregg Popovich. I love this man. I'm not trying to hate on him, but dude, somebody should have pulled dude off to the side and said, look, man, we love you. We love you. You're great. You're the best thing for this organization. It's time for you to step out of the role. Why did we let a stroke have to happen to this man to shut him down? He'd still be coaching for another 3 years, and we'd still be spinning our wheels. And for the record, all you hoes who said that Gregg Popovich was fine and would come back and coach, y'all need Jesus. And
Mike said they're gonna do us at a weekend at Bernie's with Coach Pop just to tease the crowd.
Yeah,
come on, man.
I'm not trying to hate on this guy, but we knew stuff was wrong. He had several tweets over the last 5 years where he came in and had a Band-Aid over his head, and he had a Band-Aid on his head for weeks.
Quan, I gotta ask you a question. Quan,
I'm trying to be a hater here.
We got an incoming super chat. We got to address real quick, Mike.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Thank you, Sam Salinas.
Well, I think. Joe saw his way out. Joe, where did you go?
Bring it all back. I don't know what happened. We all got kicked
Quan?
off. All right, Sam Salinas says, official greatest episode ever. They're giving you props, Quan. They love you.
They love you, Quan. You've already been asked to come back on a monthly basis, but let me ask you this question, Quan. Why is it that you and I are 2 of the 4 or 5 most hated people on Spurs Twitter?
Boy, how much time you got, buddy?
You know what Quan reminds me of? He brings the same energy like Pledger does.
Pledger, yeah.
I haven't had the opportunity of meeting Pledger, Ian, right? Ian Pledger.
James.
But I know I follow him. Seems like a good dude. Look, I think we're older, Mike. I'm not trying to date anybody here, but some of us are a little seasoned ourselves. I'm coming into my veteran years, signing veteran minimums now. My max contract days are over. But everybody says they hate what I say, but the truth is I see this game in a different way. I've played basketball since I was a little kid. I love this game. I used to be in the Navy. I never once missed a game since I came back from deployment, which was in 2012. I didn't miss any games before I deployed. So I'm pretty adamant about this team. I also don't live in the area. So I see, I live out here in Southern California. I'm right in the middle of Laker territory. Actually, I'm in Clippers territory. My house is about half a mile from where Kawhi Leonard went to high school. So I see Kawhi Leonard stuff all day, every day. I argue with Laker fans all day, every day. The Twitter experience is a very small part of my fandom. And I think because of that, I'm going to tell you what I think. And I'm going to tell you that I don't care if you like it or not, because a lot of times we don't like the messenger and we refuse to hear the message. But I'm not wrong a lot. I've had bad takes. We've all had bad takes. I think every single one of us have a bad take. I'm going to have more bad takes. And whenever I have a bad take, I'm super not going to apologize for it. I'll tell you I was wrong. I'm one of the few people that run around here making a take and then own it after the L holds on it. But what I won't do is back down from the opinion. And I think going back to what I just said yesterday, this is not a family. I have a family. I have a good family. I think you guys all have families. This is a basketball team.
Yeah.
This is a basketball team. I am a fan, a fanatic individual, a fanatical person about a basketball team. And this is my obsession. The reason why I like the San Antonio Spurs, bro, is because when I was deployed, I got really connected with the team because it made me miss a home. I'm actually from Corpus Christi, down in that area. San Antonio is the closest team. I gotta own this for a second. I'm from Aransas Pass, not even Corpus Christi. I'm not even from a good place. I tell people all the time, if you ever get the chance to go to Aransas Pass, don't. But
I didn't realize I had so much in common with Quan because I lived in Corpus for a few years. I was a reporter at KIII. I used to work at KIII over there. And my family's in LA, so San Antonio, but half of my family is in Whittier, La Mirada, Brea, Fullerton.
I'm in Riverside, bro.
There you go. So we're 45 minutes away.
Because I have the different perspective, because I've been outside of the San Antonio bubble, I see things and I'm like, you're not a family. You're a member of the team. And the Spurs have tried to force that down our throats for the last 30 years, respectively, with all of these, Ring of Rowell videos and these, DVDs back in whenever the Spurs were winning these titles. It was like, get the DVD set here and watch the Spurs family journey. They're not your family. They're a team. They're a basketball team. And if you don't go buy tickets, they're going to move their happy asses to Las Vegas. They're going to move they're going to take their team to some other city because this is a money-making enterprise. They lucked out so bad by getting Victor Wembanyama. That team, I believe with all my heart, they were destined to go down a dark path if they did not get Wembanyama.
Hey, we got an incoming super chat. We got to address your mic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
So Midtown, Texas, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. We appreciate you. He says, people who said Pop was fine voted for Joe Biden.
Hey, Biden and Trump both the same age, baby. They're both older than F, man. And by the way, people are saying that I'm offended that you're getting so much love on this podcast, Quan. I don't, because you blessed us by calling us the Area 21 Ho podcast, and we will forever be known as that. I'm gonna tell you why people hate me on Spurs Twitter, and this is what I always like to say, Quan. They hate me on Spurs Twitter because I bet 800.
800?
I'm right a lot.
I like that you believe.
Man.
I don't know.
I bet 800. I bet 800 in the saying. You know what?
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap, Mike.
Saying the Spurs should get Stephon Castle months beforehand. Saying the Spurs should have gotten Şengün instead of Primo months beforehand. Singing Şengün's praises. Going on and on. How the point guard debacle with Sohan was never going to work. That Sohan was not the right pick. That Sohan's going to be gone after his rookie contract. The one that they hate me because tank for the whole team playing versus team tank. No, you tank for Wemby. You tank for Wemby, and you tank again the year after that. I was right about all of that. But here's the thing. I say about 800. I want Dylan Harper on this team. That. And I have optimism for one Mitch Johnson.
Hey, I think they came up with a new nickname for you, Quan.
Oh boy.
Quan Leonard.
I didn't betray the Spurs.
That was the other take that I had, that maybe just maybe Kawhi left because of the Spurs. Maybe, you
really want me to open up my Kawhi Leonard perspective on this? It's been a few years. First off, I was banned on my last account, and a large reason was because of arguing about things like Kawhi Leonard and Josh Primo, which is one of the reasons why they're not a fan of me. I am super not on the San Antonio Spurs side when it comes to Kawhi Leonard. Now, I will boo that hoe until Jesus comes back. But I am not here to take the San Antonio Spurs side. They handled that wrong.
Right.
They ruined their relationship with their superstar player. And they let that little Frenchie, Tony Parker, run his mouth And he did everything he could to get Kawhi Leonard out of town. How did nobody snatch the little dude up by the neck, go throw him into a locker room? How was nobody duct taping Manu Ginobili's mouth shut and being like, hey, old guys, stop running our new talent out of town? You
Exactly.
see
It was
NBA
arrogance. It was arrogance.
Yeah.
And by the way, and Parker, and for those who are like, Parker would never do that. Parker was banging his teammate's wife.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Let's not pretend he gets the halo. And one other angle about this. I don't understand why Spurs fans who were so angry at Kawhi Leonard for his leg hurting. Oh, my leg. And yeah, he faked it. Fine. He was sitting out. Why are those same people the same people that want the Spurs to tank? Let him tank with Kawhi Leonard if he's hurt. That's what they were doing. Now suddenly we got to have we're pearl clutching. Oh, now we have to tank because that's the right basketball decision. No, the San Antonio Spurs, all of them, they ran Kawhi Leonard out of town. They ran him out of town. And little Frenchie, Tony Parker, he was the first one to do it.
They made Spurs fan turn on Kawhi. By them speaking out, they made Spurs fan turn on Kawhi. And the whole city hated him. Uncle Dennis, once he saw Tony Parker go out there and be vocal, he was like, you know what? We done. We're out.
That was green light. All he needed was that. Then he had a reason. And I'm sorry. Look, you cannot treat all players different. You cannot treat all players the same in this era.
Oh, yeah. No.
We think everyone is going to be Tim Duncan. They're not. That's what made Tim Duncan so special. Right. You do Tim Duncan a disservice when you want other players to be like Tim Duncan, because no one will ever be another Tim Duncan. You have to learn how to cater to these superstars.
We got another incoming super chat we got to address here. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Grandmaster Chota, he's saying the top 5 most unnecessarily hated Spurs Twitter accounts.
I support this.
He says Hollywood Nixon, Quan, Cinephile, Jimmy C. Fields. He says Eric Salinas. He goes, make Quan an in-season regular. We might just have to do that. I like Quan's energy, man.
Hey, look, we're hated, but people still continue to get back on this train. I was banned on my last account, and then I rebuilt this whole following back up here. Like, y'all not bothering me. I tweet for myself. I think I'm great on Twitter. If you don't like it, that's your own fault.
Love it. I love the glasses. Where are the glasses coming from, man?
These are Zenni Optical, bro. These are Zenni Optical. It became a shtick a few years ago. I have a 9-year-old daughter who thinks the glasses are really cool, so I rock with it. I don't care if you guys make fun of me for it. My 9-year-old daughter thinks they're really cool, and so I stick with it, man.
All that matters, man. You know, we have a little picture that came out in the media share that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and share it right now. This was done by Mario Cavazos. So he's asking a question, really, and I'm going to put it on here. And he was just saying, who is this dude? Because the Phoenix Suns have narrowed their head coaching search to 2 finalists from the Cleveland Cavaliers, associate coach Johnny Bryant and assistant coach Jordan Ott. Sources tell ESPN both will meet with the Suns owner Matt Ishiba in Michigan ahead of the hiring as soon as later this week. So Phoenix Suns looking like they're going to go ahead and try to get 2 unknowns to go ahead and interview for their head coaching vacancy.
This is me waving slowly to Devin Booker as he leaves. Great to see you, Dev. We enjoyed your company here. It's just a matter of time. The Suns are not a serious organization. They're in cap hell. It's bad.
Yeah.
I can't believe they would bring in 2 unknowns for them, the same way that I can't believe we're bringing in Mitch Johnson for Victor.
Oh, them fighting words, Quan. I agree with a lot of what you have to say, but I like Mitch Johnson. Now we will adopt.
Why do you like Mitch Johnson? What has Mitch Johnson done that's like, oh, big Mitch Johnson fan?
Hey, if DeJounte believes in him, I believe in him. Okay, real fast.
I lost my entire reputation defending that guy, that fringe all-star. Come on, bro. That's crazy.
Okay, we will adopt the phrase Area 21 Ho if you adopt a phrase from us.
Oh,
okay.
God.
This ought to be
We
rich.
use the phrase throbbing a lot.
Throbbing?
If a player is on fire, shooting 8 for 9 from 3, they're throbbing. Okay.
Oh,
And the
God.
reason it goes back to my days
Why?
in high
I
school.
don't hear Joe agreeing with you. It sounds like you use the word throbbing.
You use that word, bro.
My friends and I back in the day, we played video games like NBA Jam and all that stuff back in the day. And if you notice that whenever the player got on fire, the star underneath the player started to pulsate. And we'd always say, he's throbbing. He's throbbing.
Look at Quan.
So will
He's
you
"Hell
adopt
no."
throbbing as an adjective for when a player's on fire? Like if Champagne goes 8 for 10 from 3, he was throbbing last night.
I don't think I can commit to that. I feel like
Yeah, bro. No one can.
it's like whenever I have this thing, like whenever I travel back and forth to Texas, I always like to tweet out whenever I land in Texas, "Hello,
Yeah.
Texas, I'm inside you." Like, and I, like my wife has hit me up a few times. She's like, "Can you delete that?" I don't know, but like, don't.
Okay. Will you adopt?
Throbbing, bro.
Will you? That's great. We adopt any of the nicknames we have for the Spurs. Okay, what is Harrison Barnes' nickname?
Harrison Barnes' nickname is the Toyota Corolla of the team. He ain't sexy by any means, but it's gonna start every time and it's gonna get you home.
I can respect that. I've called him Barney in the past, so go for it. Barney or because he was in Sacramento, but I like that better. He's the Toyota Corolla of the team.
We call Julius Campani cardio. We call him cardio because
Exactly.
there's some games where he's out there for 20 minutes and has 0 points and 0 rebounds and one assist. There was that one game where he had no stats. And I was like, oh, he's getting his Fitbit steps in. He's getting his cardio.
I want to say this. I think Julian Champagne's got a bigger role to play for the San Antonio Spurs moving forward. I think he's on a great contract. I've been won over to the Julian Champagne train. I'm curious what some of these other nicknames are.
VBM, by the way, with a good quote here to end the show real fast. So, Daniel says, says Quan will say Wright is throbbing if he lands Giannis.
Hey, bro, he lands Giannis. I'll give you a singular tweet that references Brian Wright and Mitch Johnson throbbing at the time.
Daniel Castro says Jimenez looking at Quan as he's talking about throbbing.
Jeez. Quan's probably like, what the hell, dude?
I don't know if Quan knows the depth to which our conversations go. Demon Mike sometimes makes an appearance. VBM says pause. Very nice.
Yeah.
Sam Salinas reaches out to us on our YouTube stream, says we need a Mike pledge and Quan triple threat match. That's how we top today's show. But you know what? It's one of those things we've never seen Pledger and Quan in the same room at the same time. They might be the same person.
No, I've gotten that a few times. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Very.
Ian Pledger guy. Yeah. So one day I need to reach out to him. We'll connect.
Alamo the Rise comes out and says this show is throbbing. Quan, it was a pleasure today. We were going to wrap things up, but man, thank you so much. You were on longer than we expected. I hope we didn't take you away from work too bad.
That's good.
But this was a fun show. Joe, any final thoughts?
No, I just want to say thanks to Quan for coming and being part of the show. We appreciate you, man, coming in here. Quan was nothing but a really good guest. I really enjoyed having Quan on the show.
Phenomenal.
Today, man.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. Tell no one. I have a reputation to uphold. I can't have people out here thinking that I'm a good guy. There's good reasons to follow me. I tell everybody, don't follow me. If you're following me, it's your own fault.
I bet you Quan's the kind of guy. That's like me.
Yeah.
When people say that they hate you on social media, but they meet you in person, they're like, "Oh crap, you're a nice
buy
guy."
him a beer.
I've challenged every single one of you who are my haters. If I ever get the chance to meet you, I would like to buy you the first beer. I will. I mean it. If you're willing to, come find me. I'll get you together. We'll share a peanut butter and pickle sandwich.
Very nice. Very nice. The only thing we disagreed about was Mitch Johnson. We disagreed about Giannis versus Harper. But you know what? I'll be the first one to buy a Giannis jersey if it happens. Okay, let's at least agree on that, right? I'm not gonna.
It's not bad that you still hate me, but I don't know who you are, so don't worry about it.
He puts just kidding.
That was like Mad Men. That was like a Mad Men episode.
You know what
right
I
there.
liked earlier? I think it was Sith. He puts Quan is part of USOA, something Mike will never be.
Your life, bro.
That's
You know,
life.
Mike always is trying to be part of USOA, and it's a running joke. They're like, nah, bro.
No, we can't let you win.
And Quan doesn't know our tall tales. Apparently.
Oh God, you have a ton.
Can I leave you with a tall tale?
I'm mildly interested. Let's hear it.
I tell these stories that I
Don't believe
swear
in Quan.
happened, but no one believes it. I'll give you a Spurs one. Back in the late 90s, I was working out at Racquetball and Fitness.
Pause. You were working out?
Back in the day when I was 21, yeah. You know, you get in relationships, you get to fluff out a little bit.
That's right. That's right.
But I was working out in the middle of the night. I don't know if you ever remember the Racquetball and Fitness in the medical center.
Yeah.
It had a full court basketball, wooden floor. It was really, really nice. Some of the Spurs came in, including Antonio Daniels, including Tim Duncan. They came in and they were asking people if they wanted to run fives. And they asked me if I wanted to join, and I said no. I said no because I didn't want to be the guy that he lands on. He lands on my ankle. That I Zaza Pachulia, one of these guys.
It's like you shot Derek Jeter.
Exactly. You dick.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I believe that I said no. It happened in the middle of the night, by the way, during the summer.
Really?
It really happened. And I got scared, dude. I got scared. It was like 4 NBA players and their friends or whatnot, and they needed 2 or 3 other players to run 5. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not going to be the guy that gets you hurt. Not that I'm going to break your ankles the right way. I'm going to break your ankles because you're going to land on my ankle. And I said no. None of my friends believe it, but that happened back in 1998, baby.
Hey, I got a quick Antonio Daniels story, bro. I was working at the McDonald's off of I-10 and Ralph Fair Road out past towards Bernie.
Yeah.
And I'm working on this is like a Thursday night, and I'm washing dishes in the back of this McDonald's, and we're closing. They closed at like, I don't know, 11 midnight, but it's closing time. And we're all trying to clean up this McDonald's so we can get out of here. And then suddenly I just hear this rattling. What the hell is this sound? Our entire McDonald's, inside of this McDonald's, starts shaking and stuff starts falling off the shelf. Stuff starts falling into the fryer. It was crazy. I go up to the window. It's Antonio Daniels. He is in a yellow Ferrari, and his bass sound system from his Ferrari is going bonkers. He destroyed our McDonald's. And then this dude's like, y'all still open? Can I get a couple double cheeseburgers out here, bro? And we were like, bro, get out of our store. You just destroyed our store. We were so mad at Antonio Daniels that day.
That is Quan. I didn't realize we were brothers in McDonald's because I toured at a McDonald's, by the way. Fantastic. Although I stopped working at McDonald's when mine got robbed and I was there.
Oh God. Did you go ahead and deter him with the tennis racket like you did the guy that was trying to rip you off over there at the ATM machine?
Yeah, in my 20s, I went to an ATM downtown.
He was working out at that time.
Back in my early 20s, I was downtown, and I went to a downtown ATM before going to a club, and I was afraid of getting pickpocketed or whatever. This guy pulls out a small little knife on me as I get out of my ATM, and I had a tennis racket at my side, and I went like this.
Oh.
And the guy walked away. Swear it happened.
No, man.
I swear
My detective test determined that was a lie.
That was a lie.
I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Thanks.
All right, fellas.
We're going to go
gotta
and
wrap
let you go.
Crew and the 304 gang.
Very
nice. Quan,
Thanks, Quan.
we got to make you a regular during the season, my man.
Cool,
yes,
bro.
sir.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks,
All
Quan.
right, y'all. You take care, Quan.
Hey, we got to
Badass.
go ahead and give some love here to our sponsors because we did not during the context of the show. So we're going to go ahead and give some love to MCS General Contracting. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Hey, thank you so much for that, Diamond Heart Concrete. You can reach out to them, 210-774-9155. Also, don't forget to follow Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 for your daily content when it comes to Spurs. And my number is 210-508-0369. If you want to shoot me a text, you have any questions about investments or insurances, 210-508-0369. Daddy's got to go peddle some insurance and investments right now, man. So I got to let everybody go. Joe, thank you so much.
It's a good show.
Quan was amazing, dude. We'll have him back.
Yes, sir.
We'll
all
have
right.
him back.
We'll see you all tomorrow. We're out of
See
here.
ya.
Peace.